I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Hiroga. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
You come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. Here to make war, we surrender. False good. Important things are giving you peace.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. That means you're going to make a profit.
Look, these three words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Birdo Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Birdo Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Deep Space Nine Wednesday for July 14th, 2021. Today we are watching Season 5, Episode 18, Business as Usual. And this is an episode that's very heavy Ferengi episode. We get to meet Quark's cousin Gaila for the first time. Of course, he's the guy who gave Quark that Ferengi shuttle that was rigged to explode back in Little Green Men. But he's a very rich arms dealer who owns his own moon. And he decided that Quark was the right person he needed for his business, expand his business. So Quark gets a chance to get into the arms selling business, but he doesn't have to actually deal with having any arms weapons come to the station, because we know Odo would frown upon that. But his cousin had this great idea, and Quark is doing well at it. But is it enough for him? Can he do it? Because he's always had a moral aversion to selling weapons. And his Federation pals make it a little easier for him to see the light. I know some people say this is one of their favorite episodes. I don't think it's a bad episode, but I also don't think it's the best episode. I would not put it in my top 10. I don't think I'd put it in my top 20. But I'd probably put it in the top 50%. We'll rewatch it and see what I think after I'm done. I haven't seen this episode in a long time. It's one I do tend to skip or just not pay all that much attention to when it's on. Because to be honest, and I'll get into it when it's over, I don't like some of the tactics the Federation uses in this episode to make Quark do what they want. But we'll see. So Josh Street was first in the chat and says, "Where is Birdo Prey 6? He is starting to act just like his old host, Birdo Prey 5, in being late." And Not Ryan Johnson says, "Hello and Qapla. Hail Karoga, hail Karoga." Thank you, Not Ryan Johnson. Josh Street says to Not Ryan Johnson, that he should watch Sci-Fi Nation stream from last night on Chair Simulator, a true Kurogan game. They even have Sassy in it. And I looked a little bit at Chair Simulator. I saw Sci-Fi Nation and Rosetta were testing out various chairs. That is indeed a very interesting game. Not Ryan Johnson says, Bird of Prey 6, is he the clone of Bird of Prey 5? I thought Kuroga banned cloning since the clones were superior to the originals, which isn't saying much. This is all fake news. And not Ryan Johnson says he'll check out the stream later. Josh Street says, no, we hope, since Bird of Prey 6 is formerly known as Charlie. We hope not, since Bird of Prey 6 is formerly known as Charlie. Charlie is not a clone. That much I can confirm. Josh Street says, here is Sci-Fi Nation stream from last night, and puts in the link. And Josh Street says, and we found the perfect game for Deej in the form of a furry game, and a link to a furry game on Steam. Apparently, it is a furry nightclub, and all species are invited. So yeah, that does sound like a game Deej would instantly take to. Not Ryan Johnson says, I already see the resemblance between the game character and Bird of Prey 5. Son of a bitch. That was a joke, because of the character in the Chair Simulator is extremely ugly. Dan23 says, this is an okay episode. I think I would agree with you, Dan. It's an okay episode. Josh Street says, remember to put at Bird of Prey 6. No. Don't put at Bird of Prey 6 if you want the host to take over all of Bird of Prey 5 streams. There's nobody here who's going to answer to Bird of Prey 6. And Josh Street says, go to the Bird screening room to watch the episode or movie along with at Bird of Prey 5 only while he is streaming the episode or movie at www.birdofprey5.com/SR. And yes, being we're watching Deep Space Nine today, if you head over, and the address is also at the bottom of the YouTube video, birdofprey5.com/SR, you can watch today's episode live, my copy of the episode live with me. Open that browser tab in a different tab or a different browser or on a completely different device, and leave YouTube running so that you can hear the commentary. If you have your own copy of the episode, either on DVD, on Paramount Plus, on Amazon Prime Video, on Netflix, or on Hulu, then feel free to watch the episode there, get it queued up. Again, it's Season 5, Episode 18, Business as Usual. An actor says, holy chairs, I need a siesta after last night. Oh, I have 2 hours, gonna do that. Yes, you were quite early in the chat. A lot of people were quite early in the chat. An actor says, not Ryan Johnson, somewhat bird looking, but Thomas said he has the intent of suing the game developers for using his likeness. I highly doubt that looks anything like Thomas Potts. Josh reads his actor, you know you love the old sparkly electric throne at the end. Wow, I did not see that part. Richie Poole says it is Deep Space Nine Wednesday already. Is it Deep Space Nine Wednesday already? Of course it is, Richie. And then I saw you had to go back to work. And he says, with the word business in the title, this must be a Ferengi episode. Quite adept, Richie Poole. Indeed it is. Captain Trek says hello. Qapla, Captain. Ken Jack Ben says, Bird, you should try doing these shows on Odyssey. It's okay to show it over there. They follow fair use. We're just watching an episode of DS9 last night on Wee's channel on Odyssey. The problem is Odyssey isn't going to grow my YouTube channel. And they might be okay with me showing the episode for now, But if Odyssey ever catches on to be as popular as YouTube, they will take down old videos that have, entire episodes of Star Trek or any other TV series in it, because it is not, well, just rebroadcasting it in a format that's constantly available isn't quite fair use. Richie Poole says, "What's this? Deej Odyssey has his own streaming service." I wish he did. Actor says, based on 5 minutes of research, Odyssey logo could have been drawn by him. I don't see much videos featuring grown-ups in animal costumes or farming. John Araki says, Bird is going to be later than the periods of the women in Planned Parenthood waiting room. And John Araki says, I am shocked the YouTube bots let that one by. Qapla John Araki, who also says hashtag free Gina and hashtag FU Manu. And Richie Poole says, hey, Bird of Prey, is that a frisbee in your pouch? Or are you just happy to see me? In reference to the fact that we found out that Yitza drew a frisbee in the pouch of the kangaroo in the Ozzy Prey avatar yesterday. I hadn't realized what it was until I asked. And Richie Poole says, goodbye, world. I have to get back to work. Take care, Richie. Do your part to keeping the economy going. John Aragi says, dear Bop, why are they called birds of prey? Wouldn't birds of predator make more sense? Thanks, Turtistani Danny. No, birds of predator. You could call them predator birds. That's fine. Birds of prey because they're seeking prey. You wouldn't call them birds of predator, but you could call them predator birds. John DeMarco says, greetings all. Greetings, John. Cinnabon Bunny says, hello, Qapla. And it's definitely no Sub Rosa, says Cinnabon Bunny. It's about this episode. John Aragi says, if the stream crashes again today, we can all regroup on Mr. Londell's channel. Well, if the stream does crash today, the stream should continue going because I turned off auto stop. So the stream should not end until I specifically log into YouTube and tell it to end. So we should not have the problem we had yesterday, even if for some reason the software crashes today. Actor says the Federation is a bully. Picard was right. No, I don't think so. Rock Solid Productions says, Bird of Prey, typical Kurogan, trying to get one over on me with Mario 64. Son of a bitch, now the price is $225. You pay shipping and add in a Coke. No, screw you. I pay you $1. You pay everything. And you send me a Coke. A cold one, too. And better not be shaken. Cinnamon Bunny says, don't fall for it, Bird. It's just a sealed box. That's what I'm thinking. It's just a box with probably like some crappy N64 game in it. Like Street Fighter or something. Professor Brainy Specs says, Qapla, Bird of Prey, Qapla, Professor. Cinnabon says, we already uncovered Rock Solid's deception on Twitter. John DeMarco says, welcome to the Professor. Mark, the infinitely tired, says, Qapla, Bird of Prey, Qapla, Mark. Mark, why don't you have a wrench? Mark, you've been here long enough. Dan says, Bird of Prey, I posted this on Twitter, something you mentioned on live videos before. And let's see, I'll go to the other screen to look at it. Oh, yes, Uncle Ben's rice has become Ben's original rice. It's happened a while ago in the United States, but it's happened now in the UK as well, because showing Uncle Ben apparently is I don't know, too much for people to handle. So they had to take Uncle Ben off of his own goddamn rice. And it's just called Ben's Original Rice. And we have no idea what he looks like anymore. Mike Richards says greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Greetings, Mike Richards. John Araki want alpacas to unite. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Hello, 47 Yorktown. Dan23 says, Bird of Prey, did you see the Star Trek 2023 movie news? I've seen it, I've heard of it, and I reject it. I believe it is fiction. John Araki says, birds of pacifism. No. Rock Solid says, Bird of Prey, I'll shake it and you'll like it. I think not. Darius McMuchhausen says, Qapla, Darius. Professor says, greetings to John. Rockstar says, there was never an N64 Street Fighter game. Sure there wasn't. That's just what you want me to believe. Josh Street puts in www.birdofprey5.com/SR, the link to the screening room. Thank you, Josh Street. Yes, we'll be heading over there in just a minute or two as we get ready to watch today's episode. Darius Qaplas to everybody in the chat. Mark the Infinitely Tired says, thank you. You are welcome. Darius says, rip to Uncle Ben. Yes, rest in peace, Uncle Ben. Could not survive the culture wars of the 2020s. John DeMarco says hello to Darius. Darius Qaplas to Mark. Actors as Bird of Prey. Hell hath no fury like an alien Karen. Indeed. John Araki says hashtag bring Ben back. Yes, bring Ben back. Mark the Infinitely Tired says good afternoon to Darius and afternoon to Professor. Mike Richards says greetings to Darius. Dan23 says you can find videos of people dressed as animals on here. Not my interest. This is true. Actor says the mythical Star Trek 4 movie. No, I don't think this movie they're talking about is the fourth JJ movie. It would be a separate movie. John Araki says the most racist macaras contain only Uncle Ben's white rice. Professor Brainy Specs says greetings to Darius, and Rock Solid says Bird of Prey. There wasn't an N64 Street Fighter game. Instead, Capcom went to the Saturn, which had amazing Street Fighter 2 games. Okay. Rock Solid, I believe you. So it was some other fighting game. Maybe it was Mortal Kombat or whatever. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So head on over to the screening room. And as always, if you want me to read your chat once the episode is started, make sure you put in @BirdoPrey5. So I will do my best to read your comments. And I'm going to count down from 5, and we will be starting. So get ready. This is Season 5, Episode 18, Business as Usual. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Load that up. And we have liftoff. And we have Jadzia playing Tango. She risks 8 strips. She's playing Quark. Quark is busy. She's getting upset. Quark can't believe it. She begs to play Tango, and then he doesn't pay attention. She says, if you don't finish his hand, I'm going to call it a night. Said, who'd have dreamed they struck whatever on some other planet? The commodities market is going crazy. Evade, he says, and Dax is like, are you sure? She says, confront, and you owe him 15 strips of latinum. You owe her 15 ships of latinum. Quark says, take it. That's all I've got left. He lost his life savings. His tetracalene futures. It's all wiped out. He's broke. He's finished. Dax says it can't be that bad. He says he's up to his lobes in debt. He used the bar as collateral to 3 different brokers. If he doesn't come up with the latinum, there'll be nothing left from him but a greasy spot on the promenade. I don't know. Uh-oh, somebody's here for him. And he says, tell him I'm gone. And then you hear, if that's the best lie you can come up with, no wonder you're broke. And he says, Galia. No one. What a surprise. And he looks at Dax. He's like a clothed free male. And he starts touching it. Or he's like, isn't this the cousin that tried to kill you? He's like, I see you've heard of me. And he says he'd like to talk to his dear cousin alone. So Quark gives the little Ferengi, going away sign. Dax leaves. Quark says, if you've come for your latinum, you came a long way for nothing. It's all I can give you. The cousin says he knows of his financial situation, and he's here to help. He knows a way to get out from under the rock. He's offering a job. He says, you defy the FCA ban? He says, what's family for? And he won't tell if Quark doesn't. And he's like, you want me to sell weapons? And he says, I know you've had reservations about this in the past. It's dangerous. It's too technical. It's not a people business. And he says, nothing could be further from the truth. He says he can't smuggle weapons to the station. Odo will be on him in a second. And he says he's not going to bring weapons on the station. He needs Quark to do what Quark does best. Public relations. Showing clients a good time. An atmosphere conducive to sales. Quark says, I can do that. He says, of course you can. He says, and you can earn 5% off each sale. Quark says 10%. The cousin puts in a few numbers and says, you take 5%. And Quark says, I had no idea. He said, yeah, weapons, it's a growth business. And in a month, all your debts will be paid. In 6 months, the Ferengi business will be begging to reinstate you. And then you'll buy your own moon. He's like, buy my own moon? What's it going to be, cousin? And he's like, what do I got to lose? All your friends. Rock's odds is Bird of Prey, the N64, Killer Instinct, Clay Fighter, Mortal Kombat Beyond, Smash Brothers. That's it. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do. Dun 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 dun. 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 Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Do do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And Dr. Scotty says yes, the theme properly performed. John DeMarco says Bird should get an Emmy for this performance of the theme. Business as usual. Oh, the B plot. I forgot about the B plot. So Chief has got the baby. He only fell asleep about an hour ago. Jake came in. So Jake says, "You look terrible." And Brian says he didn't get much sleep. He woke up every hour. Every time he tried to put him in the crib, he started crying. He misses his mother. And his mother's going to be gone for a week, maybe 2. Now there's some type of family emergency. He's stuck without a babysitter. Jake says he'll take care of Yoshi. Jake says, absolutely, I'm up to it. He's watched somebody's hatchlings a couple of times. Says Yoshi doesn't have little wings. Even better, says Jake. Thinks he's worn himself out. He should sleep now. He says if he wakes, give him one of his bottles. There's diapers in the bag. Jake says, don't worry, he knows the drill. Now go to work. You need to rest. He says, don't worry. Okay. The same thing with Molly he went through. He says, you see, no problem. He'll check in at lunch, and he said if you need him, he's just a calm line away. And Yoshi started crying. Oh. And O'Brien takes him back. You would think they'd have something in the future to just, gas the child to make him sleep. So O'Brien's going to take him with him to work. Give me the bag. He has no choice. He's got to take his kid to work with him. The actor says, oh, he became a real boy. Gone again. So Quark is paranoid that anything could be Odo. He's sticking his hand in drinks. He's looking at Morn again. He's like, there he is. It's not Odo. It's a guy. He's like, how good to see you again, says the cousin. This is his associate, Haggett. Like, Quark. And to Laura, your cousin speaks very highly of you. And he says, oh, his cousin's an excellent judge of character. He's like, I admire confidence in a man. I demand it of my salesman. In my business, one must be careful not to grow too confident. And he says, he believes the phrase used to bring him here is the opportunity of a lifetime. An accurate description, says the cousin. So show him. So they bring him up to the holosuites, and he's got a whole bunch of weapons on display. And he says, very nice. Oh, he picks up a rifle, touching it. Weight and balance appears just right. Says, we have a wide range of targets. Says, that won't be necessary. And he aims it right at Quark. It's like a perfect replica. Even pulls just a little to the right. Just like the real one. He says, these are the finest holosuites in the quadrant. And it said they sold 50,000 to whatever, and the cousin said we sold another 50,000 to the other side. Quark says, we sell weapons to opposing sides. This is on occasion. If either side realizes what you're doing, it can be most unpleasant. The cousin says, but as they say, the riskier the road, the greater the profit. This solves many of their problems. No weapons coming in or out, no breaking local laws. All shipping happens outside Federation space, so Starfleet can't touch them. All they're demonstrating is holograms. They can even show off the specialty items. And it was all Quark's idea, says the cousin. Josh Street says, why didn't O'Brien send little Yoshi to Bird of Prey babysitting services where the babies learn to work at an early age? The guy says, don't ever cross me. That's the only rule. And if it's not too much trouble, he'd like to see his quarters. The cousin says, if he was a bit shorter and his teeth were a bit sharper, he'd make a perfect Ferengi. Quark says, why'd you tell him it was my idea? Cousin says, I want him to like you. Actor says, Bird of Prey, Disney and their rides ozone machines are way ahead of the child-numbing business. Well, if we can catch up, damn it. Wesley Crusher says, Bird of Prey, is it a Dear Bop Day? No, it's not, Wes. It's DS9 Wednesday. Oh, they've got some targets. We got a guy blowing shit up with this holographic gun. So why wouldn't you bring in like a Klingon? Oh, quick recharge is one of the most popular features. He'll take 2,000. He says it's a pleasure doing business with someone doing business with someone who appreciates quality. Howdy do, says Quark. He's a natural salesman. He's like, you're right. It's no difference than selling sandwiches. Well done to Quark. And they're celebrating with champagne. Or as they say in Kuroga, champagne. Quark says he thinks he's going to like this job. So the guy wants to see Quark. He says, who would have thought how much money could be made from glass beads? Anyway, some other race bought a whole bunch of weapons. The Proximian War is just heating up. He'll be back. So he's like, I support you'll be wondering when you're going to start seeing your share of the profits. He says, I'm afraid it's not going to be soon. He took the liberty of transferring his earnings directly to his creditors. He's like, I would have paid them their money. He says, I don't doubt your intentions, but money does strange things to people. He can't afford to have one of his associates distracted with financial difficulties. So until your debt is paid, you won't be seeing any profit. He says, and once his debts are paid, then his earnings will be yours to do with what he will. As long as you remain solvent. Says, Quark, do forgive me. And he comes in for a hug. Let's hug it out. He says, my associates are like family. It's his duty to keep them from getting in trouble. And to shower them with affection. And he gives Quark a gift. He says, go ahead, open it. Antarian glass beads. Says this must be worth an absolute fortune. A little token of his esteem. And Quark shows it off to the woman. He's like, look! So they're playing darts while while he's holding Yoshi. And he says that no, it doesn't make it seem fair to have the good doctor throw from so far away, but he is genetically engineered just to remind us what he happened. So Doc says, like, you can't throw him forever, hold him forever. He says, you want me to put the baby down? I'll put the baby down. You see what happens. And he starts crying. Happy? And Julian's like, that's amazing. He's like, no, this is what's amazing. As soon as he picks him up, he stops crying. Now, it's his turn to throw. Quark is getting umox. And Odo comes in. He's like, don't stop till you see smoke. Quark says, I hope I'm... Odo comes in. Odo says, I hope you're not interrupting anything. And he brings Quark to the security office. He says, none of these charges are going to stick. He hasn't broken any laws. He has a license to use holosuites. He says, but you don't have a license to sell weapons. He says, you're going to face the consequences. And Cisco and Kira come in and said, not today, he isn't. And he says, let him go, says Cisco. The Bajoran government insists DS9 not insist with the lawful the lawful whatever of Hagathor and his assistants. Without him, they'd all be dead. He assisted with the Bajoran resistance. He sold them weapons. Without people like him, they'd all be dead. Now, Cisco is looking at Quark, and he's like, those days are over. I'm being nice to you are over. I view so much as litter on the promenade. I'll nail you to the wall. And Kira looks at him and says, something to look forward to. Yeah, Cisco's like, all the good times are over. This is it. You've used up all your goodwill with him. Actor says, Bird of Prey, my brother stuck a dart into my maxillar bone when we were preteens. It wasn't funny. I don't know what bone that is, Hector, but I'm very sorry about that. That sounds extremely painful. Wesley missed so many DS9 Wednesday, he don't even know what's going on. Quark has become an arms dealer, but he doesn't sell the weapons. He just uses the holosuite to show off the weapons other people are buying. So he was talking here, he's talking about how people underestimated the Bajoran thirst for freedom. He knew the Bajorans were a good bet for selling them weapons. Some guy comes in. It was nice of him to join him. He was about to close a deal with the Verillians. So I heard they're not in need of our services, since they signed an agreement with some other consortium. He says, I heard you hadn't even opened negotiations. And he says, that's a lie. Instead of doing your job, you were off enjoying yourself on Risa. He said, I can explain. He says, I don't need explanations. I put my faith in you and you let me down. As of now, our relationship is terminated. He says, let's just talk this over. I made a mistake. He says, an expensive mistake. Goodbye. And he says, "You still there?" He's trying to say something. He leaves. He says, that was the most unpleasant experience. Shall we get back to what we were talking about? He says to Quark. John Street says, bird of prey, feel your face between your mouth and your eye, and you found your maxillar bone. Oh my God. That is not good. There's business always this good. He hasn't had a single Starfleet customer all day. Nobody from the Federation has come through the doors. It must be off limits. He says, as long as we keep the holosuites moving, nothing to worry about. They have a very special client arriving next week. Some guy, Palomar. He's very, very wealthy. He's also very particular about how he's treated. He says he should be. He's a regent. And he says, cousin, you've done well. And couldn't have come at a better time for both of us. And cousin Gaila is thinking of cutting it back, taking it easy. He could take his place, could earn a higher share of the profits. He says, have you spoken to Haggith about it? And he says he likes you, Quark. And I like him, and I'd also like a bigger share of the profits. He says, then everyone's happy. Except for Farak. Oh, his ship blew up. As soon as he left the station, a warp core breach. He laughed it off. He's like, that guy, he's got such a temper. Like, are you saying he had him killed? He says, you heard him, Quark. He doesn't like to be crossed. Just make sure you don't forget that. And now Quark, he realizes just how serious he is in. Man, a lot of ships blow up leaving Deep Space Nine. He's trying to say good morning to Dax. She's just completely ignoring him. And Dax says she's busy. Quark says he's a little disappointed. You of all people would understand. Said what? Understand how despicable you truly are? How you don't care how many people die as long as you make a profit? Said who says anybody dying? They're defensive weapons. They're deterrents to war. Don't you know anything about the balance of power? Dax says you don't really believe any of that, do you? He's like Jadzia. There was nothing else he could do. He was drowning. The walls were closing in. And just as his lungs were about to burst, his cousin threw him a lifeline. How could he possibly refuse? She says, feeling a little guilty. He's like, guilty? Me? He doesn't have anything to feel guilty about. Dax says, then why come to me asking for forgiveness? And she gets up and leaves. Quark is pissed. So, Julian says he's got good news, is that Yoshi's fine. And O'Brien says, well, he cries every time I'm not holding him. He's like, well, there's nothing medically wrong with him. So O'Brien says, what are you telling me, that he's just sad? He's like, are you sure it's not a rash? And Julian says, there's nothing I can do for you. He says, yes, there is, and it's his neck. His neck hurts. O'Brien's neck hurts. So Quark is showing off all this food he's got for this special customer coming. Matopin rock fungi. Some tartuffe. Seasoned with solar berries. I don't know. The main course. Stuffed Weglian Congus meat. It's all disgusting. There's all the regent's favorite dishes. He doesn't seem all that interested. Quark, ask a question. Are you trying to rude me on purpose? Or is this sheer incompetence? Here we are about to open negotiations with an important new client. And this is the welcome you're trying to give him? And Quark is very defensive. He's like, he's going to like this. And Quark says, isn't he? And he pushes Quark out of the way, and he tastes the food. He says, well, he should. It's delicious. Ha 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 ha. How'd you go in there? The cousin's like, you definitely had him. It's like, Quark? You think he said, I love you? It's like, it's magnificent. He tugs on his ears. That's enough fun for now. The Regent will be here shortly. And tonight we're going to make some money. Ah, this is the guy. He sounds like a mafia guy that doesn't exist. He's telling his stories. And how does he pay me back? By declaring independence. Betrayal is the one unforgivable sin, especially when it's committed by someone you trusted implicitly. He said most people wouldn't understand that. They have no ideals. They're only interested in lining their own pockets. I always thought you were a man of honor. You're all men of honor. How very perceptive of you, Regent. Quark says, how can we help you? I want to make an example of this guy. I tend to eradicate the entire city. What's the population? 7 or 8 million. He says, that's just the beginning. Over the next couple months, I want the death toll to rise slowly but steadily to 20 million. Quark is having serious reservations. He says, now what would be the most effective? Mutagenic retrovirus? What do you think, Quark? And he says, 28 million dead. Can't we just wound some of them, says Quark. He's like, I'm here to buy weapons. Are you here to sell them? And Haga says, absolutely. Quark was just making a joke, which Ferengi humor doesn't translate too well. So let's forgo any further attempts at joking. Wesley says, I think there's a 75% survival rate for leaving DS9. Josh reads as Wesley, so 25% of all ships leaving DS9 are Krogan ships. So it's always Bird of Prey's fault. Ships blowing up when they leave. And he's like, Quark, the cousin says in Quark, maybe I wasn't plain enough. I want to retire, and you're my hand-picked successor. So stop being so judgmental. It's his bank account, not his morality you need to be concerned with. And Quark says 28 million. And he says if he heard you talk like that, he'd throw you out the nearest airlock. He's like, look out there. The stars. Millions and millions of stars. Millions upon millions of worlds. And right now, half of them are fanatically dedicated to destroying the other half. Now, what do you think if one of those twinkly little lights suddenly went out? Anyone would notice. No. Nobody would notice. He said, suppose I offer you 10 million bars of gold-pressed platinum to turn out one of those lights. Would you really tell me to keep my money? Josh Street. I don't know where Jordan came from. Josh Street says, Bird of Prey, you said you weren't in a DS9 episode, but there you are sitting there. So Quark is having a dream, quite obviously. And he sees Cisco, and he says, "You don't look so good." He says, "That's because I'm dead." And Jake is there. He said, Jake says, "I had my whole life ahead of me." And Dax is saying, "You killed us all." He's like, "You can't blame me." Now Kira says, "Deny it all you want. You're responsible." "Hope it was worth it. How much latinum did they pay you? Did they buy your contract?" "Why, Quark? Why did you kill my baby?" says O'Brien, holding Yoshi. And they're all around the Dabo table. And Quark says, "This isn't my fault." And the wheel stops spinning. And Cisco says, "You lose." "No!" Quark is yelling, "No!" He just woke up from his dream. He was at his bar, sleeping. Quark says, "What have I done?" So O'Brien's on ops, and everybody's looking. Like, why is Yoshi up here? It's like, it's hard to explain. It could be the pattern of the lights, the humming of the optronic relays, whatever, the vibrations. The point is, he's not crying. They're all whispering. He says, "Why don't you take a few days off until Keiko gets back? We can manage without you for that long." And O'Brien says, "I have the situation at hand." He says, "Keeping Yoshi up here is not an acceptable solution." And he says, "Sir, can I wait a little bit before I move him? He just went to sleep." And Cisco, not being an asshole, says, "Very well. Then I want him out of there." And everybody in ops is looking at Yoshi. And he's like, "You all got work to do." O'Brien's pretty proud of himself for finding a place to keep Yoshi. Dax has broken into Dax's room. Quark broke into Dax's room. He's like, "You broke into my room with a Tongo wheel?" She's like, "Get out before I call security." He's like, "I can't. It's a gift." She's like, "You're trying to bribe back my friendship?" He's like, "No, chances are I won't be needing it anymore. Goodbye, Dax." She's like, "Don't let the door hit you on the way out." He's like, "Don't you want to know where I'm going?" Dax says, "Not really," as closes the bedroom door on him. So what if I say it's dangerous? It doesn't matter. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What he has to do, he has to do alone. One man who's had enough, who's going to stand up and say, and Dax opens the door and says, "Goodbye, Quark." Actor says, "Do Ferengis know what the back of their heads look like?" I imagine they've seen pictures. The worst Haggith can do is kill you. I'm surprised Rom's not in this episode. What's your life compared to 28 million people? Dave G. Sound says, "Did you all notice the gun Quark first showed off in the holosuite as a demo was designated as the CRM 114, the same as the radio code machine in B-52 in Doctor Strangelove?" He was just telling the Regent his shipment was delivered in a week. He says, "He'll be stuck with 28 million people with no way to kill him." But he can get a hold of some Veraxium M7. It's still experimental. And he said they're dropping like flies. The trouble is, he's not so sure how much of it he can get. Do you think the region will be satisfied with only 17 million dead? And he says, "Well, 17 million? It's better than nothing." He says, You have to do is tell him there's been a change of plans. Tell him we have something new to show him. It might take a little longer to get the results. But we'll give him a 20% discount. In the meantime, you have a sample sent here. And we'll arrange for a small demonstration. We'll find a planet with some low-level life forms no one will miss. He says he'll speak to the regent. Try to just make sure you get the sample here as soon as possible. Don't fail him. Quark says, believe me, I want this deal to go through more than anything. He's finally out of debt. This is the first profits he's going to get to keep. And Guy tells him to get going, Haggett. Get going. Dan says, Bird of Prey, that baby is still a baby. In the last episode of DS9, Molly grew up a lot quicker. That's true. LDG, wow, I effing love this episode. Yeah, this is a better episode than I remember. And he says, there's somebody he wants him to meet. And he's like, the Dabo tables will still be there. Meet General Nosok, head of the whatever resistance. He's pleased to meet you. And the cousin pulls Quark out. He's like, I'll be right back. Like, what's that female doing on the station? She's the regent's mortal enemy. Does she know he says, you're scaring me, cousin. He says, I know selling weapons of both sides is dangerous. But as you said yourself, the riskier the... So don't quote the rules of acquisition to me. You're going to wind up as dead as Farak. He says, we're going to sell Varaxium LM7 to both the regent and the general. She's as crazy as the regent. They're going to poison each other. We double the profits. And nobody. So what if they see one another and realize what we're doing? He said, it's a busy station. Just think of all the latinum. We double our profits. What do you want him to do? Says cousin. Keep the general occupied for a few minutes. Then take her to Cargo Bay 5. Okay. You'll meet him there. Open it. So the other guy is there, clearly in Cargo Bay 5. And Quark is saying, that's odd. What's wrong? It's the sequencer isn't working. He says, fix it, says Haggett. He says, right away. He needs to get the scrambler. And I'll get a bottle of champagne. Says, forget about the champagne. Just get here as quickly as possible. Whatever you say, says Quark. Josh reads, Bird of Prey, isn't the last few seasons of DS9 only take place in about 1 year timeline? So they pass each other in the hallway. He says he'll be right back. And he says, after you. And now he's going to take these people in and they're going to meet the guy they hate. And Quark watches what happens. It's a trap. And Quark starts running away. Run, Quark, run. And Odo yells, attention all personnel. Phaser blast in Cargo Bay 5, seal the area. And all the security guards go running to the cargo bay. And Quark just sits down and smiles. Robert Rose Jr. says, hello today, Bird of Prey, Mamo Prey, and the Sassy. So Worf comes into O'Brien's quarters and says, Chief, my schedule shows you were supposed to start modifying the deflector array in the Defiant. And O'Brien says, sorry, Cisco said I could take a few days off. And he says, hold him for a minute. I got to go get his bottle, please. He says he's going to cry for a bit, but it's okay. And Worf says, Chief, I don't know. But hey, he's not crying. He's not crying. And O'Brien looks, he's like, wait, why is he not crying? He's very happy in Worf's arms. He's like, what's the matter, says Worf. He says, the baby, O'Brien. He's not crying. Do you wish him to cry? No. He's not crying. And Worf initially turns away, like, I'm not going to give you back your baby. Then he gives back the baby. He gives the bottle to Worf. Dave G says, double the risk, double your profits. No, that was Move Along Home, which you knew was the wrong episode. Worf says he never saw his son when he was this age. It's something he will always regret. Says, you're a fortunate man, Chief. And O'Brien fell asleep. They're both as well. No. Worf put the bottle on O'Brien's shoulder, left Yoshi in the carriage. He's saying Quark. So Cisco's saying Quark is facing a bunch of charges. He's like, I didn't know they were going to start shooting. I just wanted them to cross paths so the deal would fall through. He says, yeah, the deal fell through. They barely made it off the station alive. He found the general sent a purification squad after them. What about the Regents? Death. He's like, the Regent's dead? Then the purification squad caught up with him too. He's like, I can live with that, and I can think of 28 million people who won't have a problem with it. So, about those charges, says Quark. Surely we can come up with some sort of accommodation. Says, that depends, says Cisco. This is what it's going to cost to repair the cargo bay. That much. Well, maybe we could come up with an installment plan. Works for me, says Cisco. And so Dax is going to play Tongo with Quark again. Quark won. A risk of 10, a purchase of 7, a sale of 14. And Dax whispers in his ear, nice move. He always had a knack of getting out of tight spots. It's a gift, says Quark. And about his Tongo wheel. And Dax says, it's my Tongo wheel. You gave it to me. He's like, I know I gave it to you, but at the time, she's like, all sales are final. Confront. Retreat. And they're laughing. They're laughing over a game of Tongo. Dave G loves Cisco at the end. Works for me, yes. Worf is the #1 babysitter, says John DeMarco. Qapla, Life with Matthew. So yeah, okay, this was a better episode than I remember. Definitely top 50%. But I'm still not putting it in my top 10. It was just a good episode of DS9. I mean, compared to all of Trek, it's a better episode than most. But for DS9, it's a top 50% episode. That's all I'd positively say. I'm not going to say it's top 20. I think I could probably find 20 better episodes if I looked hard enough. But there's really no need to get that close, to look at every episode that closely to really get down to a top 10 or top 20, maybe a top 10. One day I'll probably do a top 10 DS9 episode breakdown, but not today. So I think that's it for today, and I want you guys to know that I have secured the digital copies for at least seasons 1 and 2 of Twilight Zone, and I should have the rest soon. So we will be starting Twilight Zone this Thursday. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, we will watch the first 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone from 1959. They're about 25 minutes each. So we're looking at a little around 90 minutes, a little under 90 minutes of runtime for 3 episodes. We'll talk about them and whatnot. I guess we'll do it as a panel, kind of like a cinema Saturday or cinema Sunday panel. We'll do a Twilight Zone panel. We'll bring people up, and so that's the plan. And then the plan will be probably the following week we will move Twilight Zone to Sunday, and we'll move the movie back to Saturday. So we'll do Cinema Saturday and Twilight Zone Sundays. But for this week, Twilight Zone is Thursday, and Sunday is the day after tomorrow, the movie. The following week, we'll go to more standard schedule. So that's my thoughts. Hope it works out for everybody. And, let me know. Actors is upper 50%, so between 11 and 88. That's a wide margin. Josh Streets is top 10 Ferengi episode to make it harder on you. Well, okay. Top 10 Ferengi episodes. Well, certainly Little Green Men would probably be the top of the Ferengi episodes. Not Terok Nor, the Magnificent Ferengi would be in there. Bar Association would be in there. I don't know if you'd consider the episode where Nog is recovering as a Ferengi episode. I mean, it's mostly Nog, but it's not a lot of Ferengi. But Nog and Rom are in it, so maybe that would be there. What wouldn't be on it would be where Quark has the gender surgery. That wouldn't be on there. And probably not the episode where Quark, where the woman pretends to be a man and then falls in love with Quark. That probably wouldn't be on there. I don't know if I can think of 10 Ferengi episodes off the top of my head. Josh reads this in Babylon 5 Mondays, right? No, Josh, somebody else. Sci-Fi Nation. Sci-Fi Nation is doing Babylon 5. So check out Sci-Fi Nation. Cinnabon says Bird liked the last Loki episode more than this. No, bullshit. I did not like the last episode of Loki. It ruined the entire series for me. I'm done with Loki. Super Blubberpuss says, good afternoon, guys. Qapla, Super Blubberpuss. Unfortunately, we just finished this episode. Indeed, says afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever else may be here. Good afternoon, Deej. Deej, are you still streaming tonight? Super Bubba Puss says the Ferengi are why I can't stomach DS9. Really? The Ferengi are great in DS9. These aren't the TNG Ferengi. Life with Matthew says Sci-Fi Nation is doing Babylon 5. Oh, I was going to do it after I finished Sequest. Well, I mean, it doesn't say that more than one person can't do Babylon 5, but Sci-Fi Nation started, and you might do it too, so I'm certainly not going to get in the middle of that. John DeMarco's like with Matthew, you still have to do Babylon 5. Thomas says, congratulations on extending your membership to the Fandom Menace for hating a show because of 5 seconds of background audio. It wasn't just Greta Thunberg, Thomas. That was just the icing or the straw. Every fucking episode of Loki had something that was making me sick to my stomach. It's usually 2 or 3 things. And I might go ahead and just make a review pointing out what in each episode I found so horrible that it left me completely unfulfilled. Now, I was watching it in the hopes that the final reveal would have been something so interesting and so grand that it would have made all of what happened before it worth it. Okay? Like, I'll be honest. It was a lot like Lower Decks. Like, when I got to the last episode of Lower Decks, I was pretty mixed on it. It wasn't until the fantastic episode 10 of Lower Decks did the whole season of Lower Decks come into focus for me. And I went from it being a very mixed, easily forgettable, not worth watching series to a series I would definitely say you should watch Lower Decks as long as you watch it through to the end of episode 10. It was very similar to that with Loki, except that at the end, Loki just failed and fizzled, whereas Lower Decks brought everything together at the end and made it all worthwhile. I'm not doing Babylon 5, Captain. I'm sorry. I've watched a few episodes, and I would fall asleep. I would fall asleep. But if someone else wants to do it, I will try to come to their streams. If I can, if I'm awake. It's when people are doing it, I'm asleep. But I don't hate Babylon 5. It is nowhere nearly as interesting as Deep Space Nine. At least for me. Actress says, Bird of Prey, you're just angry that your prediction about the finale was wrong? What, that it wasn't another Loki? I honestly couldn't have cared less. I could not have cared less. Thomas's Bird of Prey falls asleep on DS9, and he loves the show. Josh reads the Bird of Prey, do the Babylon 5 movies, then. Captain says, not you, someone else. I will not be doing more streams. Actor says, Bird of Prey, just joking. No, it's okay, Actor. I honestly really had very little prediction. I figured it would be a Loki. I'm still not convinced it isn't a Loki. And to be honest, nobody can be sure because it's another cliffhanger. We don't have it. We don't have an ending. We don't have a suitable ending for the season or the series. We've got yet another cliffhanger. Okay? I mean, we don't know what happened to the judge. We don't know who that guy is in reality. I know they're saying it's Kang or whatever, but that means nothing to me. As somebody who's never read the comics, it doesn't mean anything to me. And even if I read the comics, it doesn't mean that it's going to stick to true to whoever he was in the comic. So literally have no idea who that was. Literally have no idea what happened to the judge. Don't know technically what happened to Loki at the end of the episode. I don't want to go into spoilers, but it's just more and more mystery, and I'm tired of it. And I'm not going to wait a fucking year to not get answers for another probably 6 seasons, 6 episodes, and they're probably still not going to answer the question. I mean, like, honestly, what are we going to do? Wait around for a year and then not get an answer? It doesn't make any sense. This is not a show that shouldn't have answered. These shows should have been 6 episodes and done. Like, for whatever it was, for WandaVision and Captain and whatever, Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever it was, at least they were done. They were 6 episodes or 8 episodes, and they were done. This should never have gotten a second season, because these stories can't take that much time off. Actress is falling asleep. You just described the first season of DS9. Not for me. Not for me. Cinnabon says the show is written by hacks. Cinnabon, you know you're going to trigger people. If there's a second season of Loki, a teaser does not mean... Well, it's said at the end of the episode in plain letters that Loki will return in season 2. So they clearly intend there to be a season 2. Okay, if there's no season 2 of Loki, that would be an utter failure, admitting of failure from Disney. And I really can't believe that Disney would do that. They might make a 2 or 3 or 4 episode season 2 just to save face. They could make 4 half-hour episodes, call it season 2, and just wrap up the story if it's that bad and ratings are really at the level that people claim them to be, which is damn near 0. But I doubt it. I don't understand who's going to wait around a year for the answers. I'm not. I don't care. It's not going to matter to me a year from now. Thomas says, so you stop watching Star Trek when the cliffhanger is a year later? Thomas, there has never been maybe Discovery, but Star Trek isn't, Star Trek is different. I've told people, just because they put the Star Trek logo on something, I'm going to watch it. But in real Trek, there's never been a year with a year between episodes. You would go maybe 3 or 4 months tops between the end of a season and the start of the next season. It wasn't even 6 months. It was 3, maybe 4 months. The season would end in June, July, August, September. By September or October, you had your season premiere. So, 3 months, yeah, that's not a problem. You can go 3 months, but they're not going to start season 2 of Loki in 3 months. They're going to wait a year, maybe 9 months, 12 months, but they're probably going to wait 10, 11, 12 months before we get season 2 of Loki. Anyway, with that, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'll try to check out other streams later if anybody's on. I'll say hello. And tomorrow, be on the lookout, 4 p.m. Eastern, for our first Twilight Zone from 1959. And Bird Dome Menace with $1.49 donation. Thank you so much. Says Bird Doombird, Bird Roddick, Mecha Bird, Birds and Gamers. Oh, and why did you raise your prices here for minimum chats? Son of a bitch. But you got Kissing Dax. You got Kissing Dax. So yes, so listen, I am so sorry, but I was playing with Streamlabs and I by chance accidentally found the setting to increase the minimum donation, and being that they're going to be increasing the amount PayPal takes from $1 to if you donate the $1, PayPal is going to be taking like 53 cents. So I said, well, I now granted that's not for another 3 weeks, but I said, well, being I'm here now and I'm not sure I'm going to find my way back to this setting, I went ahead and tested it to see if it worked, and indeed, I could raise the minimum donation from $1 to $1.49. So I apologize, but I didn't feel right with PayPal taking the majority of a $1 donation. So at $1.49, at least I get like 95 cents out of that $1.49. And if you don't want to put in the $1.49, you can still do $1 super chat on YouTube. And you know, I say, well, then you can't put in any text on YouTube, and I will grant you that's true, but I do a pretty good job of reading any at BertoPray5's chats. So you feel free to put in at BertoPray5 and I will read it. And you don't have to donate anything. Super Blubberpuss, they're raising their prices. PayPal is raising the prices in August. They sent out an email. I almost deleted it, but I happened to read it. And sure enough, they're increasing from 30 cents a flat 30 cents plus a percentage to 50 cents plus a percent. Technically 49 cents plus a percentage. So that means on a $1 chat, they're going to take 49 cents plus 3%. So that's another 3 cents. So they would be taking 52 cents out of $1. Come August. So like literally I was like, no, I'm sorry. F that. If there was a way, I would have just turned it off completely for small donations. But I was like, well, at least at $1.49, I almost get $1, which, you know, I hope it's okay with you guys. And like I said, no one need donate. You can always put in at BertoPray5. I'm happy to read those chats for now. And I was kind of pissed at PayPal. So I do expect to get less people. I do expect less people will send donations, and you know, that's fine with me. And I'm, you know, it screws PayPal over by not using them as much. They're the ones that suffer. So yeah. So used to be all for saying, "Oh yeah, use PayPal," but now it's like, "Fuck them, use YouTube." Although on larger donations, it's still better to use PayPal. Technically, once you're up at $3 or $4, you're better off with PayPal. But I'm just pissed at them right now. So anyway, don't worry about it. I'm sorry. It's not something you guys need to worry about. Dave G, I don't know if you can send me money on PayPal via friends and family because I have a business account. Your PayPal kind of forces you to make a business account when you attach business stuff to it. So it is what it is. YouTube takes 30%, which is, for a $1 or even a $1.50, YouTube is the better deal. But for larger, like $5 plus, PayPal is the better deal. But to be honest, they both take way too much. They should be happy with like taking 5 cents off of $1, 5 or 10 cents tops. There's no reason. I mean, listen, they can get away with it because they're mostly monopolies and they have very little competition. So I understand capitalism, but they also have like a monopoly on payment processing. It's very hard to create a new payment processor. So it is what it is. Josh reads his Bird of Prey, a game Thomas showed us last night. Is that the Deej one? The furry one? Chair Simulator. Sci-Fi Nation played that game. Well, I don't know if it's the same. He played a game called Chair Simulator. This is effing Chair Simulator. Chair effing Simulator. That is okay. So this is a different game. And yeah, no, that game would not be for me. But yeah, good luck with that. Deej, some of us that aren't monetized are screwed. Well, Deej, if you raise your minimum to $1.49 or $2, I mean, I wouldn't mind, Deej. So I knowing that what PayPal's taking these days, I wouldn't mind. I would certainly up my minimum contribution. So Actors is Bird of Prey. I sent you $2 last month with a guy. He asked 2 sandwiches and a big bottle of RC Cola for the favor. Did the money get to you? Son of a bitch. No, but I would have preferred the fries. Oh, sandwiches. Probably the sandwiches. Thomas says he didn't show you. He didn't show anybody that stream. He doesn't stream. Deej is not raising. Most of my super chats only send $1 now. I'm not going to pass that along to my viewers. Well, I will, if I send you a super chat, Deej, I will make sure I send a minimum of 2. Thomas's Bird of Prey singing is affecting you, Josh. Josh Reed says a game for you to relax with Bird of Prey. Fishing Planet. You know, I never really been a fishing fan. Now, if they had Jeep Drive, where you just drive a Jeep around the mountains of Arizona, that would be something. But thank you for the thought. Thomas's Bird of Prey needs Cop Simulator. Not until I'm allowed to rough up people. I want to be able to rough up the people of the town. Dave G says, Josh, actually fishing North Atlantic is a fun game, and Cinnabon gives a thumbs up. I'll be honest, Cop Simulator does look pretty fun, but I'd get bored of it pretty soon. Dave G's has been into it driving boats around. Oh, if you can drive boats around, that's not bad. And Cinnabon found another police simulator that's multiplayer. Now that's what we're talking. We can have cops shoot at each other. Or fire department versus police department. That would be good. Anyway, guys, let me get going. Qapla all. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the donation. And Bird out. See you tomorrow for Twilight Zone. But wait, there's more. The video might be over, but there's more fun to be had. First, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have clicked that bell icon to get notifications of new videos in your YouTube feed. Share this video on social media to help this channel fight the algorithm that favors big media. Also check out www.birdoprey5.com for links to my other channels, various social media accounts, merch store, Dear Bop, affiliate links, and all your Bird of Prey 5 needs. At the main Bird of Prey 5 YouTube channel, you can find all sorts of live streams and unlisted videos, YouTube membership options, and a community section with polls and updates on the channel. On the secondary channel, Bird of Prey 5X, you can find overflow content that doesn't always make the main channel. Subscribe to both channels, please. Thanks for watching. Remember, I stream almost every day. This is Bird of Prey 5 saying goodbye, world. Until next time. P.S. Hail Sassy, hail Charlie, and of course, hail Kuroga.